All right, guys, here we go. We're going to get you going with Miss Pen out. So you guys are doing logarithms. I'm going to kind of go pretty quickly. I haven't done a video in a while. Number one, the, the internet issues became a problem. So we're just going to do a quick idea on how to do basic logs. I can't remember what this assignment's for, but we'll tackle it in the title. So with logarithms, just know that logarithms are the inverse. So logarithms are the inverse of an exponential function. So if you have covered exponential functions, every time you plug in 0, you get 1. That's a base point. Every time you plug in 1, you get the base. So this is another base point. What I mean by base point, those are our starting points. So like for a parabola, we use the vertex. We use the vertex to move it left, right, up, or down. So this is where h and k come into play. So if I move it right and down, my parabola moves with it, and I move it over here, and I slide it like that, and I rewrite it. I think you guys may have had a review, or you've done something like that. Again, I don't know where you guys have been, so I'm just trying to let you kind of bring you along pretty quick. Now, since this is h and k, we don't have an h and k here with a vertex. What we have are two base points that will get moved left, right, up, and down using h and k. So that's our exponential. So when it's an inverse, all we're saying is that we're going to switch x and y. We're going to switch x and y. So if 2 to the x power has a 0 and 1 and a 1 and 2, so since these guys are inverses, then logarithms are going to be 1 and 0 and 2 and 1. So the pattern is this. It's always 1 and 0, and then it's the base and 1. The base and 1. Those are our starting points always. We also know that this will never cross the y-axis, just like this never crosses the x-axis. Because if we switch them, x and y are switched, that means this can't cross the x-axis, so when we flip it, this can't cross the y-axis. So all our logarithm graphs will look just like this. This kind of shape with a dotted line. Now, these two pieces move, and those two, and the asymptote, it's called an asymptote. I don't know if you've been familiar with that. It's an asymptote, or it's an undefined line. It's a line that the graph cannot cross unless it's a special occasion, and we don't really deal with those. Now, so as we're dealing with this, that's what a logarithm is. It literally was created because everything else had an inverse except exponentials, and everybody felt bad for exponentials, so they created this piece here. Now, when it comes to graphing these things, and I'll give you a couple of examples, let's just start with this basic idea. We know that the base here is going to be our starting point, okay? A tells us the steepness, or it flips the graph. It does the same thing that it does with the parabola. It flips it upside down, widens it, squishes it, all those different things. But the key pieces are going to be this. 1 and 0, the base and 1, and then what happens with h and k. That's literally the main pieces of these things. All right. So our domains will be based on wherever h and k go, and I'll get to that when it comes to domain and range. You have some questions I threw on there. You can fill them in if you'd like, or you can just look at the examples. So let's just start with a basic one. Let's just say y equals 2 log 5 to the x power. So there's no h and k, so this is going to be, I like that when I'm introducing stuff, this is a minus 0 plus 0. So this doesn't move at all. So now we've got this piece here. We know that I have a line right here that doesn't go anywhere. That's my asymptote. It's right there. And it's based on h. Look, h is right here. So H didn't move, so it's still 1 away from everything. Now, from there, we take 1 and 0. That's a starting point that I always have, 1 and 0. And then I go out to the base. The base is 5. I go out to the base. So I'm going to go 1 and 0 here. I'm going to go out to the base, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put it out here like this. And then I know my graph always curves like this. Always starts down here and curves and touches. Now, I know it's like, oh, well, that's a 2. That covers the steepness. This takes care of everything that you need to take care of. You don't really need to worry about that number. Just if it's negative, that's the biggest thing you need to worry about. So that's the graph of 2 log 5 of x. Remember, I added these just to show you what's going to happen with h and k. So what's my domain? My domain is starting at 0. So my domain is everything greater than 0. This is an important skill. So that means anything on the right of the graph is usable. Anything to the left is no good. So if I take my range, I can start here, and this thing goes on forever and ever and ever. So that means my range is called all reals. Okay, so it's all real numbers. So my domain starts at the asymptote and goes on whichever way that's pointing. All right, so let's go to the next level. There we go. Let's go to the next level here. We're going to grab this one here. Let's change this. Let's call it y equals 1/3 log 3 x minus 4. And that's it. So we've got no k. So k doesn't move. So that doesn't move. So that's k. And we've got a 0. Remember, I added a 0 so you guys know what we're dealing with. So now, let's tackle this piece. It's going to be a little bit different because this is going to move now. So let's put our base stuff in. Here's our base. We're going to put our asymptote in right here. Okay. Now, I need to go to 1 and 0. And I need to go over to the base. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys can see that on the video. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go up 1. Now, right now you'd be like, oh, cool, I'm done. Problem is we have a h right here. Remember that h shifts or translates left or right. So we've got to move these things left or right before we're allowed to draw it. So this right here, we set it equal to 0. We set it equal to 0. We get x minus 4 equals 0, x equals 4. So we're moving this thing 4 paces to the right. So I'm going to draw it in purple since this is in purple. So now let's take this line right here, which is at 3 and 1. And I have to move it to the right 4. So that means I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I put my new dot right there. And then I've got to take this base point and I got to move it to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm at 5 and 0, and I'm at 7 and 1. Those are my new points. I also have to take this asymptote here, and I have to move it to the right, 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to draw my dotted line right here. And now I've got my pieces. Let's draw my line like this. I know I went through the line. Sorry, guys. I need to draw a little bigger on the next example. And that's my new graph. I don't need these points in red, the base points. I use the base points to move things left and right. So there's my new graph. My domain is anything to the right of what I reset it at, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So H gives us where our domain starts and ends, okay? So that's what our domain is. Our range still, all real numbers. It goes on forever in both directions. Let me give you another little video. Or not video. Yeah, you'll get another video. And then let me give you another one that kind of covers, I believe, most of the examples you're going to tackle. Now, so they will throw out at you. They love to do this stuff. They're going to go, oh, well, let's see here. We're going to give you a 3. Then we're going to give you log to the 1/5. And then we're going to go x minus 2 plus 3. All right, so now we've got a couple of things going on. What the heck does that do to the graph? We know that's going to move it left or right. Now we have a k to deal with. So, again, we're dealing with our base graph. So let me draw this one a little bigger so hopefully you can see it. So we've got our base graph here, guys, like this. Here we go. My blue tape, make sure I'm not too far off. I'm looking at the video. Yeah, we're still good. Okay. So let's just tackle this. My base point is always 1 and 0. So we're good there. So we got 1 and 0. And then my other base point, now this one's a little messed up. It's 1/5 and 1. Remember, it's the base and 1. Well, where the heck is 1/5 at? So 1/5 is in between 0 and 1. It's going to be like right here. It's going to be like 1/5. It's right here, and we go up to 1. So all of a sudden, they've messed things up. So let's look at this here. So now we've got our 2 base points. And it's supposed to come up from the left like this, but that doesn't make any sense because how the heck is it supposed to look like that? Let's just kind of draw everything in first. Now, I'm going to give you a third point that may help you see what's going to happen on this. This becomes, and I don't know, and again, I'm kind of going blind here, guys. I don't know where you've gone and what you've done before. This can be rewritten as a negative exponent. 1/5 is the same as 5 to the negative 1. That tells me right here that at 5, my y value is negative 1. So watch this. So if I go to 5, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm down at negative 1. All of a sudden now I can kind of see the curve of this thing. Now I'm looking a little different, okay? So now we've got to deal with H and K. H and K are big deals right now. So now I got to take this one. I'm going to move to the right 2 because it's always the opposite. And then I'm going to move up 3. I'm going to move up 3. So everything here goes to the right 2 and up 3. Let's tackle that. We're going to go to the right 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to go up 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I moved this point to the right 2 and up 3. All right, so I don't need that point anymore. So this far red point's gone. I'm going to move this one to the right 2, 1, 2. I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3. This one's gone. I don't need it anymore. I got this one here. It's that crazy little dumb 1/5 one. I'm going to move it over. 1, 2, and then up 3. 1, 2, 3. It's up here. I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to move it over 2. 1, 2. I'm going to make this work. And I've got my asymptote right here. I don't need this dotted red line anymore. We can get rid of that thing. All right. Now, I don't need this red dot anymore. Now I got a new graph. Right here, I got my curve. And now I've got a domain starting at my x is greater than, I moved it 1, 2, 2. That's my domain to the right. This is my new graph of 3 log to the 1/5 x minus 2 plus 3. So, quick little recap. Don't forget your bases, your base points, 1 and 0 always, and then the base comma 1. And then H and K move things left and right, up and down. That's the first quick video, and I can't remember what this assignment's for, but you guys will figure it out.